Let's talk about this more with Stephen Miller, senior advisor to Donald Trump and a top aide to Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions. Stephen, welcome back. Let's start, though, where I just ended with the Ted Cruz campaign. Alice Stewart, his communications director, saying that this back and forth over the wives and the fight and the feud and the spilling the beans and now the retweets. Let's put up the retweet so our viewers can see it that Donald Trump sent overnight. She calls this conduct unbecoming of the office that he's trying to run for, and also points out that the Ted Cruz campaign had absolutely nothing to do with it and has nothing to do with that super PAC. Stephen?
Thanks for having me back on. So it was actually very interesting. You asked Ms. Stewart about my comments and whether or not the Cruz campaign would call on the super PACs to stand down, and she wouldn't. She dodged the question. She started saying something about a reality TV show. It was hard to follow. But she wouldn't call on the super PACs to stand down. This began with a super PAC trying to stop Trump and help Cruz, and to this day, as you just heard there, they won't go out and condemn and also ask to stand down and cease and desist this super PAC, and that's really what's going on here.
So, Stephen, this all could have ended yesterday. This could have ended with our conversation because this could have ended because the candidates could have ended it. Donald Trump then sent out the retweet. No need to spill the beans. The images are worth 1,000 words. Explain the retweet. Explain this coming from Donald Trump.
I think the retweet speaks for itself. There was a vicious, mean-spirited, uncalled for attack on Mr. Trump's wife. And it was a personal attack about her image and appearance, and so he responded as any normal person would. So I don't really understand what the concern is, but I will say again that the Cruz campaign needs to tell the super PACs and their donors to stand down.
This retweet coming from your guy has nothing to do with the super PAC. It has nothing to do with donors. This is Donald Trump continuing to want to talk about this fight after both sides have had their say. I do wonder, why does Donald Trump want to continue to talk about this? Because as I look at this retweet as a woman, it's demeaning to not only Ted Cruz's wife, it's demeaning to Melania Trump because she's got a lot more going for her than just her looks, and you don't see that in this retweet.
Well, I would not presume to speak as to what Mrs. Trump or Mr. Trump or anyone else in the family views the tweet, but I think the retweet speaks for itself. And I think that you and I are probably just going to have to agree to disagree on this, which is fine. Not everyone is going to see eye to eye on things 100% of the time. But what it's fine. I mean, we don't agree. You
endorse the retweet, then?
We don't agree.
You endorse the retweet.
Of course I do. Of course I endorse the decision to retweet it. But I mean, you and I aren't going to see eye to eye on everything, and that's fine. That's what's great about America. We're not going to agree on everything 100% of the time, and that's okay. But I think what really matters, and I was trying to get to yesterday. And I don't want to, I don't want to dominate the conversation, just keep talking, but I do want to make this point real quickly, if you'll let me, which is just to say, very straightforwardly, that the super PACs and the donors and the special interest united behind Ted Cruz in trying to stop Donald Trump are doing it for one reason only, which is to cling on to power in Washington, D.C., to continue sending our manufacturing jobs overseas, leaving our borders wide open, to wage suppressing immigration, and to continue reckless foreign wars that are bankrupting the country and making us less safe and increasing the threat of terrorism across the world. That's what this is about. That's why you see these super PACs doing what they're doing. And everyday working people in this country who want to change in policies are going to vote for Mr. Trump by the millions because they know whether it's women's issues or whether it's wage issues or economic issues, the real issues affecting families in this country is the destruction of our middle class.
I'll say this, though, Stephen. Again, this retweet has nothing to do with the super PAC because the super PAC had nothing to do with creating this retweet or having your boss retweet it. And yes, we will agree on one thing. Put politics out of this. You and I are not going to agree on endorsing something that is demeaning to women, including Donald Trump's wife.
Women want safe communities. Women want safe communities. They want better jobs. They want security. And I couldn't agree with that more. And the campaign, we are going to be the best administration for women's issues in this country. And the most important thing to keep in mind is that women in America have been destroyed economically by misguided policies on taxes, regulations, immigration, and trade, and we are going to reverse that. And we're going to make our
Stephen,
communities safer
Tell your
and our
boss
middle class
to
more
stop
prosperous.
perpetuating this conversation, and you and I can talk about important things,
like
maybe how he would handle the threat of terrorism in the face of Belgium attacks. But he continues to just want to retweet this kind of a feud with Ted Cruz.
We are the only campaign who's going to protect our communities from terrorism.
Stephen Miller, we'll be back in a moment. Thank you.
Thank you.